They will go to areas such as maybe the middle of Western, maybe the middle of Bristol, where they will be collecting a group of detainees so that the officer can bring them to the van rather than take them to a different place. And I think that will help a great deal. But we also need to remember that we are having to find significant savings. Okay, so we have a choice. And it can be a very easy choice, very blunt choice. I either can have loads of buildings, which I have no one in, or I have officers and PCSOs who are visible on the street. And local residents have constantly told me they want to see police on the street, they want to see visibility. And if that means that I have to close half-empty police stations because they've got smaller workforce, you've got to estimate. If that's what it means, then that's what I'm going to do. We only have one pot of money. I can't stretch it any other way. I can't get a mortgage. My job is to produce a balanced budget. And that's what I intend to do. And if that means closing some police stations which are not used much by the public, I'm here to be very clear on that. If it means closing some police stations, then that's what I do.
I wander around in two unusual areas. One is sexual abuse and children where the perpetrators are women, and the other is white-collar crime. I've given you a narrative that you're going to work through, I've been listening very hard. I think white-collar crime, to a certain extent, doesn't exist. And for me, it's where the perpetrators are highly intelligent and educated. And my client, in my case, the victim, has dropped totally through any sort of victim support net, and I've been doing for somebody else. And in a national case of mine, I'm picking up the pieces of people who are defrauded because nobody else is doing it. But anyway, we'll chat more.
You have raised it with me. You've given me a great long document. It's not appropriate for me to just scan it now. So I will take it away and we will set a meeting and then I will talk. Okay?
The white collar crime.
Well, we're doing a lot on business crime and we're doing a lot on rural crime. That's those areas. But I will talk to you a bit more about it. You mentioned that we've all heard about the stations that are closing. But you also said that you will be organising afterwards work with partners in the company. When are you going to publish where they're going to work? So at the moment we're still in negotiations with local authorities. We are also in talks with fire, looking at innovation big money about where we can work together. And as soon as those plans come to fruition, we will talk about it. What I've done with the two customers is that we set out a strategy that shows people what we were thinking about. It's part of being open and transparent. So we were criticised about why we couldn't put all these plans in place. But if we've done that, that means that those conversations would have gone on and you wouldn't have known about them. And I'm determined that's not how we're going to work. So I'm telling you about how the conversations are going and when a decision has to be made or not, because that's what discussions are all about. Then we will go public. But it was setting out a strategy about what we want to do going forward for the next 4, 5, 6 years, about what we are going to be doing. And if it means working with local authorities, it means going into town halls, it means going on to shared buildings, and that's what we need. Okay, sorry. Good afternoon, Sue. I am Becky Lee and I am an accounting manager today, and as you know, you with us. Part of our offering is a benefit supported staff, which is funded by the MOJ. Now, information that we've received today indicates that victim fund money is being allocated from CCC locally. Is that correct? And if so, are your intentions to use that money as is or not? I remember reading this email, I can't remember who laughing at what it said. John!
I'd love to answer the question, but I don't have a microphone, Commissioner. I don't know the answer, I'm afraid. We'll find out and we'll come back to you.
That funding does end in September.
Right.
So without that counting of quarters now, I do respond to
Understood. We'll get your details and come back to you with a specific answer.
And we have got an answer. I just can't remember. All right, and I do apologise, but someone told me. Sorry. My name's Anne. I'm working for the Ensuring Experience in the Youth as well. And I think my question is similar to the second talk and it's John and it's about this and I have a like service as well. Whilst I've chosen to provide a service to victims, and I think it's very similar to the work of the agency, I can't quite understand how it will work. Will victims be agreed to the centre itself? Will there be outreach support? And how will we support victims who are not ready to get exposed to the
Yes, thank you. The plan isn't particularly that people would walk into the centres. They will largely be receiving the details of victims, primarily those that have reported crimes. They will then do the needs assessment. If a specific visit is needed to be carried out, that will be part of the service that has been commissioned to be provided by another agency. So, for the period, as you probably might have picked up, we don't actually have we're not commissioning our service from October. So, for example, for the period from October to April, when the new commission takes place, victim support will provide that service and will provide that. If the assessment is that a visit is needed, victim support will go out and do that. But there'll be coordination, ongoing contact managed from the staff. Sorry, that was your first part of the question. What was the second part? Who are not. Well, for people who aren't prepared to go to contact Lighthouse, and obviously they won't have to visit it. There will be a web address. There will be a ability to phone up. But if people didn't want to go via Lighthouse, which will still be effectively police-led, that will also be part of the emotional support service that is commissioned. So basically, whoever is providing that will also be saying, if you have been a victim, you don't want to report a crime, but you still want service, then come to us and we'll provide it. As I'm sure you probably know, we're required to enable people to access services even if they don't want to come by the police, so that's how we do it.
My name is Kate. I work for a charity called Unseen, who work with victims of human trafficking. And my question is again around the integration of care model. We're working quite closely with Natalie and her team around Lighthouse. And I think you just answered part of my question, so thank you. But we do have concerns about the overarching emotional support that's going to be offered to vulnerable victims. I'm sure we all appreciate different victims with different fears and different experiences. Require different levels of support, and I think I'd really appreciate some kind of, as you get closer to doing that, around your commissioning functions and what it is that you're expecting that agency to actually deliver, because we do have concerns that people will need different levels of support depending on what they've been through. So I think it would be really helpful for people who are working on ground to understand what that service is and what it will offer, so we can let the victims that we're working with know about that.
Yes, you make a very good point, and certainly I'll make sure that Mark will working on it for our local institutions about how hang on, I know what your second question is, but just before, I don't know. Oh, sorry. Are there any other questions? I will come back to this. Okay. I only know the second question has been there, so it's not as if I can just think what it's going well, that will show me to show off. Sorry.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. First of all, I'd like to pay tribute to the police officers who every day service and the response officers who serve it. But with all the emphasis on helping the victim, which I commend, the more perpetrators you catch, the fewer victims there will be. So there has to be an equal emphasis on catching people who have served or whatever. it may be. And I'm puzzled with the service if everything is going to be so integrated. Why is there not a magistrate's court next to the police station? And why are, I'm very interested in this gentleman here, who I believe, from what I've heard, is the only operational police officer that we have here. And his question is a valid one, in that, why are we going to be transporting so many people around the Asian contracting area? And that sort of raises the question of funding, because before we banned the transport, fuel is going to be involved. Are officers going to be involved in this transport? In which case, they're not going to be on the street. And finally, my question is, I'm puzzled about public accountability, because we've gone from a system where we had elected councils in police authority to a range of people who I don't quite know where they come from and how they're funded. Could that funding actually be funding police officers on the beat?
Okay, all right.
I know it's an awkward set of questions.
No, I think that we'll start, when we go to, people go to police, well, enough people go to police, and I am accountable to you, and if you don't like what I do, you have the choice to make a decision.
Forgive me, but there are a lot of other people. How is the crime panel different from the police authority?
Oh, well, the police and crime panel they're there to scrutinise me, not to scrutinise the police.
And how are they funded, may I ask?
From central government? Yeah, from central government.
Who aren't funding the police? It seems very strange to me.
Well,
councillors are already paid.
Yes, I think you get very, well, I don't know what you're
We do not. We get very, very small amount of expenses, not like the old police authority. We actually do it on a fee basis. It doesn't cost as much as we probably do.
I'm sure you do a fantastic job, but how are you accountable to the public?
they're in public.
We're all, most of us anyway, are out of the 15 of us are councillors, elected members of local, exactly like the police authority. So we are accountable.
And if you wish to attend the meetings, they are held in public, and they are also,
They're not well advertised, though, I have to say.
if you go on my website, if you go on the Bristol Council, they are advertised there. We don't get many public there, you're absolutely right, but they are now no,
Yes.
they're not.
We're not. Because that would cost us more money, and we are putting the costs right down to the actual thing.
Okay, perhaps a more relevant
Our
thing.
minutes are passed every time.
Okay. They're not even signed, I have to say, but I'll look again.
But okay, so go back
but
to
the things concerned with really concerned with the things that are operating.
well, let's talk about the money that's for the victims. That's completely been sent from government, so now I can't sign that on. That is for integrated victims. Okay. As far as magistrates buildings, I wasn't around the magistrates buildings to pick up. It might have made sense to put things close to our new police centres, but they weren't put up either, so there were historical decisions that were made. I think what's important, and what I feel very strongly about, is that magistrates and Crown Court have to have some independence from the police. And that is why I am a strong supporter of the independent judiciary. Because if we start mixing the two, or start getting it too close, we are not then far removed from a police state, because we end up police making the decisions of bringing someone into a court, and then police doing the rest. So there must be a very, very clear dividing line between. As far as the planning of the magistrate building is next to the police centres, then that is not something that I've got any control over when I do magistrate work.
I understand that, but we are talking about locations, because these people who've been picked up off the streets for whatever reason are going to be transported using specially paid for vans
Yes,
and
special
fuel
paid for vans.
from Weston, will there be police officers?
No, they won't. No, they won't.
So that's another sector that's going to be private.
They are.
With all these bid schemes, people seem to be bidding for
No,
things.
they're temporary staff. they still come under
Right.
the Somerset Constabulary,
Okay.
but they are civilian staff, they are not.
Right, okay, and they're going to be transported to Bristol, and then if
No, they will be in Western, they will be transported to Bristol. We
Right,
have three nuclear centres. We have Bridgewater, we have one in Kingston, and we have one in
right.
and there will also be a fourth custody in Yeovil, so there will be 4 centres to the whole local Somerset.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to take it over, but I am a member, unlike a lot of you who are in the trade, I'm just an ordinary member of the public.
Thank you very much. Okay, is there anyone else? Well, in that case, then we'll go back to the question that I don't know.
I just wanted to make a comment, because you not only have the assignment for managing units, on which I think custody said, but I've also, since 2001, 13 years, been working with vulnerable people. So I've got from both sides, I've been sitting both sides, and a lot of what we're talking about is all about vulnerable people. And to have people locked up in plans, I've done that to make them culture, and maybe that certain information coming away in certain information may not be proven to be correct. Because it's easy to say to people in plans, it's another thing to actually physically do it, and have it in such a way that everybody's rights are looked after, because your son goes or whatever, involved. So we have to feel very careful with how you transport people in vans with people looking after you. It's a great concern of mine, and I feel that is something that I want to explore. That's that question.
Hang on a minute, let me just get this. This is just saying, we do have an amazing team in the Somerset, which are independent custody witnesses, which are lay people who come in and they have the right to drop in at any time. They're not allowed to drop in and they can check that detainees are being held properly in any custody. If anybody are interested in joining, we are in the lookout for more. But that is completely outside the constabulary. They come under my office to manage the system and to make sure that any feedback that they give to us, that we will make sure that they're improving. But they are completely independent and they have the complete right to go to a custody centre at any time and actually go in and check that detainees are being held fairly. And your third question?
I do like this one to you, but popped up in your introduction about safety. And it's really concerned about road safety. And that's another job in my hand, to really see what we've done. 21 years ago, I was tasked with setting up the speed cameras with a team of 4 officers, which we did. Part of my role was to go and talk to 350 magistrates and 2 groups of CPS staff, which I did. On that basis, the speed cameras were introduced to the Somerset Constabulary with a very specific remit as to how they should be policed in regards to the prosecution, enforcement and whatever. That was fine, we all signed up to it. My problem still is that we're now going to introduce the speed cameras again, for 4 years. From the time they were introduced until they were taken out, I had great concerns about the fact that the police went down a different road to which, different road to that which they were introduced and sold to the public. When the speed cameras are up and running again, can you say whether you've got some control over them, or if it's specifically just the police responsibility, because we need to make sure that they're not classed as revenue raisers, which they were never designed for. Somebody along the way changed the remit, and the reason they were introduced fell inside what they were supposed to be.
Okay.
No,
They are not.
They have to be a road safety measure. Well, sorry to cut that off, because if they're not, then my two questions are related. People in vans in Western Kingdom are waiting to be transported to Bridgewater, which is a long way to go. And they link into the fact that you've got the wrong information, you've been given the wrong information, in the same way it's been proven by the police operating the camera.
Let me first of all be very clear about this. 3 young people died this weekend. And I make absolutely no apology for supporting Mrs. Etheridge on the reinstruction of prosecution. I have villagers who contact me who are offering to pay for them at £45,000-50,000 each because they can see that since these cameras went off, that there has been a rapid increase in their villagers. If you look at talk about people being killed, and that's why I'm such a strong supporter of this. If you look in 2003, when the cameras were brought on, there was an average of about 83 people were killed. Every year those 3 cameras were on, that number dropped. Every single year, 2010, was only 44 people died. Okay, 44 families, 44 communities, less than 44. In the following year, it stayed similar because you all thought the 3 cameras were still on, so you couldn't make it. The following year, the last year's figures we got 67 people. So you can see, it's a pure evidence-led here, you can see the increase. And we will never have enough officers, when there's decreasing resources, we will never have enough officers in cars following each of you as you speak. We have to use the technology we've got. We've got speed cameras actually in place, and so that's why we are wanting to switch them back on. You know, they may be switched on already, because we drive them back. Now, the point is that they are not revenue raising. You know that if there is if someone is caught and they are caught beyond a certain amount of speed, then they get fined. That goes straight to the government. If they are caught at the lowest level, then we have a speed awareness course. That money, some of that money then does go to Avon and Somerset, and that money is then brought back into spending things on road safety. And we're doing a lot of work on road safety because that's what people want. So that's why we've invested in 3 mobile speed bikes with speed cameras on, because there's a lot of places where they're not able to do a risk assessment, not able to put down because the road is too narrow. So bikes can now go there and to be able to catch people speeding. And that is because that is what people have asked us for. That is what people have been very, very clear, that with the increase of people who've been killed and the increase of villagers who are telling us that people are speeding. I mean, every meeting I go to, people raise the fact that people are speeding through their villages. So it's not just the answer, road cameras, but it's a combination of using that, using the mobile vans, using the bikes, using community speed blocks, so that people have a really big input, so they can tell us where the data is. Once we've got that data, then that can influence where we can have vans. But when we use high rates and everything else, it's got to make sense that with the increase of traffic and factors, I believe that 67 people on our roads being killed, 67 too many, but we have to do as much as we can and being led by local people.
I don't believe in speed watch seems to be loud. There are only 2 of us now. We had 4. The young man, who was under 60, was punched to the ground and held by 3 people in the head like he was dancing. There's 2 of us now. I made a boast to the local paper that we get 100 people speeding in 2 hours. We got 106 in 1 hour. That's at one venue, and there are 10 including if I had the volunteers, we could do them all day, every day. I don't know how many thousands that would make in Cleveland, but it's ever such a lot. And of course it goes on from there for the people that have wiped out. We have got a motorbike that we haven't got yet, because it's just too fast for us. We're too old to get his number, even the PCSO couldn't get it. And so I'm going to use a video camera next time. But this isn't funny, this is about, I was a medical enforcer, and I've seen bodies and legs and arms, and they're out there now, in our towns. And for saying that this is a revenue collection is really way off, because you've got to find £1,000 but you get 60 if you're unlucky, and that for me seems painless.
Thank you. So, I think we've finished the questions. Anyway, thank you very much for coming today. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you will read the annual report, and I really value the comments that you've raised today, and appreciate your time. So thank you.
Wonder if it's going to let me find the other video. Yeah.